Hey folks, Eric here, the whatever guy, because it really is whatever for me. Do you folks want to know about a judge issuing a temporary restraining order for these medical dispensaries in Alabama? You guys stick around, man, and we'll talk about that. As you guys know me, my name is Eric. I am the whatever guy, and I use videos a couple days a week. Basically, keeping you guys updated in the world Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, hemp cannabis, just what's going on in our realm. And having said that, man, sitting here today, bullshitting around on an early Saturday morning. I normally don't shoot videos on Saturday morning. These news articles actually came out yesterday. For those of you who don't know, there was a TRO hearing Thursday morning. They were for the lower tier licenses. For those of you that don't know, understand how this process is going. The lower tier licenses are actually what went in front of Judge Anderson on Thursday, and we still have to hear the arguments for the integrated licenses because they're going to be asking for TROs on those. So for those of you that don't get it, the reason why I went over to the alabamaal.com website and pick up this article here because they kind of lay that out a little bit in the articles. The other articles they're not explaining that exactly correctly. So we have, as it stands, it was two TROs that were being fought for on Thursday morning. One was in a cultivator space. I think the other one was in a medical dispensary. He granted the medical dispensary TRO, saying that they obviously have merit and a chance of winning their appeal. The reason why he denied the cultivator space is because they still have an administrative hearing to go in front of the AMCC, and the AMCC really only issued 8 licenses out of the 11 or 12 that they could have issued. So when that company goes in front of the AMCC commission for their administrative hearing, they could still get a license on the other side of it through some sort of whatever jugular moves they're making over at the AMCC. But having said that, we're going to flip over to an article over here. Like I said, it's over here at al.com. And this basically says judge temporarily blocks the issuance of Alabama medical cannabis dispensary licenses. And like I said, guys, keep in mind, for those of you that aren't aware, that are not following this closely enough, you have to understand that the integrated licenses are the biggest licenses. Those licenses basically include all of these lower tier licenses in one. So they would be the cultivator, processor, dispensaries, secure transport, and lab all in one license. So those are the most coveted licenses. That's where the most money is coming from. That's where the majority of the lawsuits have come from prior to this. But now we're obviously seeing some more lawsuits in the lower tiers. Like I said, Thursday's TRO hearing was basically for the lower tier licenses. Next week, we will be having another court hearing before they issue the integrated licenses. So there'll be another hearing next week. And these arguments that were laid out today in this article are basically going to be the same arguments they're going to use for the integrated license. So if the medical dispensary obviously has an argument, then these integrated facilities are going to have an argument too on the other side. So I'm 100% positive that we're going to see a TRO next week for the integrated licenses. They're going to end up rescinding these licenses again, and it's just going to be a fucked up situation all the way around. It says Montgomery County Circuit Judge James Anderson on Thursday night issued a temporary restraining order to stop the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission from issuing licenses to companies that will dispense medical cannabis. Anderson granted a request by Yellowhammer Medical Dispensaries, which was awarded a dispensary license twice by the commission in June and in August, but was denied during the third round of December 1st awards. The commission rescinded the first 2 rounds of awards. It was scheduled to issue the licenses awarded on December 1st on Friday. Anderson, in granting the request for a temporary restraining order, said Yellowhammer Medical Dispensary showed at least a reasonable chance of succeeding on its claim that the commission acted unreasonably, arbitrarily, and abused its discretion when it awarded the licenses December 1st under different rules than the first 2 rounds. One change for the third round was that the commission discarded scores from third-party evaluators that were used to rank the applicants during the first 2 rounds. Yellowhammer Medical Dispensaries had the highest score for dispensary applicants. The commission discarded the scores after other applicants objected to them in lawsuits against the commission. So basically what's going on here is, guys, is they had the AMCC was supposed to have graded these applications. Stephen Stokes, who was a chair member of the University of South Alabama, they seeded those applications out to the University of South Alabama. They hired some people. They had them come in and score these applications, and together they came up with a weighted score. Those scores were argued in court, and basically that was the layout of the whole rescission of the first 2 licenses. Those companies won, and then obviously the AMCC decided to discard those scores. And now Yellowhammer, who actually scored first on all of those scoring wants to bring the scoring back. So we're kind of in a limbo here. No scores, no scores, back and forth between the commission because they've kind of messed this up from the very beginning. By law, the commission can only issue 4 dispensary licenses. Each dispensary license can operate 3 dispensaries. Yellowhammer Medical Dispensaries plans to operate dispensaries in Birmingham, Owens Crossroads, and Demopolis. And Demopolis is my stomping grounds down in that area down in there, guys. Anderson's order putting a hold on the issuance of license applied only to the dispensary category. The commission is also scheduled to issue licenses for cultivator, processors, transporters, and testing labs on Friday. In his order, Anderson declined to put a hold on cultivator licenses after a request by one of the applicants, Pure by Sermon Farms. The company, which intends to cultivate cannabis in Baldwin County, made arguments to the court similar to Yellowhammer Medical Dispensaries. Like Yellowhammer Medical Dispensaries, Pure by Simon Farms was awarded licenses in June and August, only to see those licenses rescinded the third time. Anderson wrote in his order that Pure by Simon Farms showed a reasonable chance of success on his claims, but the judge said Pure by Simon Farms has an administrative remedy because it can request an administrative hearing before the commission, and because the commission did not issue the full allotment of 12 cultivator licenses. The commission issued 8 licenses out of 11 applicants considered. Anderson said that gives Pure by Simon Farms a chance to receive a license through the hearing process, so he declined to block the commission from issuing cultivator licenses. So you guys understand that the only reason we didn't get a stay on the cultivator licenses was because they didn't issue all the licenses. I think there was only 11 people that actually applied for the 12 licenses. They could have issued all 11 of those licenses had they wanted to. They chose to only issue 8. I'm not sure what their thinking was on that. Nobody knows what their thinking was on that because they have not followed the Alcohol Compassion Act, the Open Meetings Act. They haven't followed any of that to fruition to have these discussions out and open so that we can understand why they only issued 8 cultivator licenses when they could have issued all 11 and not had any issues in this category whatsoever. They could have just issued them, and those companies that couldn't get it up in 60 days, they would have been good because, like I said, they only had 11 applicants. They had 12 licenses that they could give. They could have eliminated this legal aspect of it right here just by giving all 11 of those people a license. As for the delay for dispensary licenses, Anderson wrote that he was sympathetic to the public interest in getting medicine to patients. That said, the commission's third, this is what's gonna lay the argument for the integrated licenses on the other side, guys. This is the same judge is going to hear the arguments for the integrated licenses. You can bet that those lawyers on the other side are getting ready for this TRO hearing next week. They are listening to exactly what Judge Anderson says, and when they go in there, they're going to be arguing these same arguments, and we're going to end up getting a TRO on the other side for those friggin' integrated licenses too, which is going to put a stop and kibosh on basically everything that's going on. That said, says Judge Anderson, the commission's third round of licensing award is at issue, and the prior 2 awards rounds remains the subject of ongoing litigation, meaning that the commission's effort to issue licenses now based on the third round is already on uneven ground. Anderson wrote, additionally, any balancing of the equities here weighs heavily in favor of Yellowhammer, whose injury will very likely be irreparable if immediate injunctive relief is denied and the commission issued licenses, thus virtually eliminating any reasonable chance for Yellowhammer to obtain any meaningful review of the adverse licensing decision. Anderson wrote that he would set a hearing on the Yellowhammer Medical Dispensaries and Pure by Simon Farms request for a preliminary disjunction. And so what he's basically telling Pure by Simon Farms is, I'm going to deny your TRO right now. I'm going to set a hearing later. If you don't get some sort of relief on the other side, if they don't fix this problem for the cultivators, if they don't give you a license, I'm basically going to give you guys a TRO on the other side. That's basically what he's saying. The judge also noted that there are similar motions pending from applicants for integrated licenses. Integrated companies will cultivate, process, transport, and dispense medical cannabis. The commission is scheduled to issue those licenses on January 9th. Officials have said products could be available for next year if licenses can be issued to allow companies to begin growing and processing and selling them. The legislature approved medical marijuana in 2021 and created the commission to oversee seed to sale regulation of the industry, which will be fully interstate. Products can include gummies, tablets, caplets, I guess, capsules, tinctures, patches, oils, and other forms allowed by the legislation. Patients who receive a recommendation from a certified doctor and receive medical cannabis card from the AMCC will be able to buy products at a licensed dispensary. Guys, Well, we're a long ways off from getting medical marijuana. These arguments right here that were laid out, he basically said that Pure by Sermon Farms would have won their TRO had they issued all those licenses. Like if they had issued all those licenses, the commission would have been in the wrong. I don't know why they didn't issue all those cultivator licenses. It was only 11 applicants that applied. They could have issued all those licenses, allowed them to the opportunity to get cannabis up on the shelf within 60 days, and then possibly kill them on the other side, or kill their license on the other side. I'm not sure why they did that, because they created a whole bank of issues on the other side of this. And now basically they've got another hearing for this TRO that's coming up pretty soon after Pure by Simon Farms gets their administrative hearing from the AMCC. And we have a TRO for the medical dispensaries. And these same arguments are going to be used for integrated facilities next week. The AMCC is fucked up. Like they are going to rescind these licenses, guys. I'm telling you right now, they're going to rescind these licenses the third time. And this is going to push until we get into the legislature. And for those of you out there, man, that are following this right here, do us a favor, man. Email Kay Ivey, email Aunt Kay, and get her involved in this situation right here. I apologize for being balled up this morning, man, but this Saturday morning, I'm not used to making videos, and this is a crazy situation. Like, we can't seem to get it right in the state whatsoever. And like I said, just looking at this, there's no way that you can't read this and think that on the other side of it, we're going to get, some TROs in the integrated licensing field. And basically what that's going to do is force the AMCC to come out of the woods and stop deer hunting, and come out of the woods and deal with this situation and get this shit figured out. All right, folks, whatever got signing off, and I'll talk to you guys later, man. Love you. See ya.